Hello and welcome to the LSR Weekly View. Today we're discussing China, and on Wednesday we gave you a bit of a what-if note. What if the Chinese authorities went for the full supply-side rebalancing? What would happen in the labour market if they were to go down that path, the sort of Austrian scenario, if you like? How many jobs would be under threat from that process of allowing failures to fail and the market-orientated restructuring of ailing firms? Now, we weren't really going for an estimate of how many people would actually lose their jobs in that path, but more how many people are currently employed by firms that really should be restructuring or even going bust. So these would be people that would be concerned about losing their jobs or perhaps their jobs being downsized. They wouldn't be asking for a wage hike, and they might be increasing their precautionary savings. And a sizable portion of them would actually be losing their jobs. So without further ado, the number that we came up with was 20% of urban employment, which is about 40 million jobs. That's a lot more than people are talking about, and I think the reason for the divergence between our figures and what we've seen in other commentary is that other commentary seems to be focusing a lot on the particular usual suspect sectors, the ones that were the problems in the late 90s. Now these guys, the miners and the metal bashers, are certainly still a problem, if not more of a problem, and they're probably evergreening their debt even at the extent of about 70%, and the details of that are in our view from April. But those sectors are now a much smaller portion of the economy overall. Now the problem is much more widespread, and there's a tendency to say state-owned bad and private sector good, and I think that's probably a bit of an oversimplification. So what we were trying to do in the note from Wednesday was to get a gauge of the portion of the economy that needs to be restructured if China is going to shore up its productivity growth and boost itself off of that Japan trajectory. And it turns out that that portion of the economy is a very big portion of the economy. That's why Beijing appears to be proceeding in this incremental fashion, testing the waters, and that's why we seem to be in these policy-induced mini-cycles. Now, the obvious question from here is whether this incremental approach can work, and that's really a question for another day. For now, the links with the details of what I just discussed are below. Thank you for watching, and see you next week.